friends. Today we are gonna review the book of Isaiah, chapter 55 and 58, Waging Love. In fact, my title is a little different. The right types of fasting for both spiritual and health purposes. So we will discuss both types of fasting today. It's a mix of a health lecture and Bible discussion. Most of the slides in this presentation are taken from www.fustero.es. That is a person from Spain that produced slides for Sabbath school for many years, and then you can access that if you wanna use their slides for your Sabbath school. The memory verse for today is in Isaiah 58:10. And if you spend yourselves in behalf of the hungry and satisfy the needs of the oppressed, then your light will rise in the darkness, and your night will become like the noonday. So this is one of the main things about being a Christian, meaning that helping others is one of the main tasks for Jesus Christ when he was here, and also the main task that he gave to us to do as his followers. So help the hungry, satisfy the needs of the oppressed. Then if we do so, the consequence is that our life is going to be minimized, or our needs will be satisfied, or we will have peace. And I believe the most important thing here is the consequence of that for us. I put here that service to others or serving others as a supporting activity is important for depression, low self-esteem, anxiety, panic, addictions, etc. I would say any person that is having some discouragement or some depression or some problems with his mental health, one of the best effects of mental health is volunteer, is helping other people, is going and finding in a hospital or in the school or in a senior center, a child center, or a vaccination center. Now they are looking for volunteers, especially in Loma Linda. I received the message yesterday. So if you are vaccinated already and you want to volunteer, you can volunteer if you are a clinical person, or if you are a lay person, you can help on the strategies to move people in the vaccination clinic, mostly at the Dresden Center, so it's open. And then you can volunteer in a library, you can volunteer in the hospice. There is several places that you can serve other people and help other people. You can start in your own family and helping people around you, or in the environment that you are, looking around to see who is in need of help. Isaiah brings an invitation from Jesus. He invites us to come to his arms to quench our thirst for salvation, to share what we have with those in need, and to enjoy the company of the Lord of the Sabbath. So we will have the plan of redemption in the first part, the high cost of salvation, and then something that we don't understand very well, but we will study that for many years. The thing about the fasting, and that is where I'm going to talk about fasting in terms of spiritual fasting and the physical benefits of fasting. And then we will talk a little bit about the Sabbath, and then what is that the Sabbath have for us, or why keeping the Sabbath. First of all, the high cost of salvation. Ho, everyone who thirsts, come to the waters, and you who have no money, come, buy and eat. Yes, come, buy wine and milk without money and without price. Can you believe that? Buying without money, without a credit card, without checks, without bank transfers. How can that be? Salvation is available to us for free. And this is something that we also don't understand. God does not want anything in return. It is for free. But God paid a big price for that. However, why is that? That only a few people take advantage of it? So let's try to respond that question. So first of all, it's free. And if you know the marketing 4Ps, you see that is product, price, place, and promotion. If you don't have a price, um, you don't value much the things. I remember I wrote a book in Brazil a few years ago, and one day this book was on Amazon. One day I decided, okay, I'm gonna do a promotion, and for what, 1 month I gave the book for free, and very few people took advantage of that. And I say, okay, let's continue charging for a book. Because it looks like when things are free, some people don't pay attention to that, or at least don't value much. Of course, if you go and open a free store in the supermarket, I mean, many people will line up for that. But why is that people don't accept salvation from the Lord that is free to everyone? I try to list some things there because people think that they are going to lose their freedom. They are going to lose their pleasures, their friendships, their lifestyle, their fun. And then they say, well, my life is going to be miserable and I don't want to go there. Sometimes we don't realize that in fact the salvation that God gives us produce the happiness or the happiest possible life that we can have in this world. And this is a challenge. I mean, in order to know that, you have to experiment that. But people are afraid to lose something that in fact, they are not. And then what they think that is going to bring happiness ended up not bringing it, and ended up in sometimes trouble for them. But God is always willing to save people. God is always looking for people. And then I have this story about the Katrina survivor. I don't know. This is kind of a parable or a legend. So don't take my words for that this is something that happened. But the story goes like that. In fact, I read this story a few weeks ago in the Reader's Digest, jokes as a joke, and it was kind of a joke, and someone had a good time with that. It looks like a person was in the Katrina. Remember the flood that happened in New Orleans many years ago. And then this guy, when the water was going up, this guy went to the top of the roof of his house. And then the firefighters came, and then they said, hey, we still have time to take you away, because the flood is not going that far, that high, and so come with us. And then he said, no, the Lord will save me. Okay, so they left the guy there. And then when the water was going to the roof, a guy came with a boat, and then he said, hey man, jump here, because we can save you. I mean, there is no way that you are gonna be saved here. And then he said, no, the Lord will save me. And then when the waters were coming almost to getting him, there was a helicopter. And then the guys called there, hey, pick it up the rope and we will save you. And then he said, no, the Lord will save me. And then what happened? He drowned. The water come above him, and there was a lot of things there, and then there was a current, and then he drowned and he died. Then when he was in heaven, he asked the Lord, Lord, why is that you let me die on that place? And I was waiting for you, and you didn't do anything in my favor. And then he said, what do you mean I didn't do anything? I sent a firefighter, I sent a boat, and I sent a helicopter to send you, and you refuse. So sometimes this happened to us too. God sent us information. He sent Jesus Christ. And how many people rejected Jesus Christ? The Son of God came in person here, and people rejected him. And then he sent the prophets, and then he sent the pastors, he gave us the information in the Bible, all the books that we can have information about Jesus is there. He sent sermons, he sent churches, he sent friends, and then we say, God, I don't know if I'm going to accept that. So there is a problem with human beings on that. I hope it's not your problem. I hope it's not my problem to accept this salvation that God gave us for free. The gospel of Christ is a blessing that all may possess. The poorest are as well able as the richest to purchase salvation, for no amount of worldly wealth can secure it. It is obtained by willing obedience, by giving ourselves to Christ as his own purchased possession. Beyond our understanding, for as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. I mean, continue with the topic here. Our minds cannot understand the mystery of salvation. How can it has to be understood by a spiritual way? But God gives us the necessary knowledge to understand what is necessary for salvation. There are a lot of mysteries in the Bible that we don't understand too. But the one that we will stay forever studying is the theme of redemption. The angels want to know more about that, and will be the science of the song of the redeemed, and then we will spend all our eternity to study about that. So the mystery of Jesus becoming human and taking the form of a man, but still being a God. And then why is that necessary? Why is that important? Why is that the only way for us to be saved? And then this is going to be something that for some people is hard to understand now. But one day we will clarify that, or we will be clarified on that. Sometimes there are some things that we don't understand because our minds are not as kind of developed as God's mind. So we talk about the mystery of salvation is something like that. But we have other affirmations in the Bible that we don't understand, and we have other things that happen in this world that we don't understand. Like sometimes we see a person that is the best person that we have in the church, and this person is very dedicated to his mission, and all of a sudden he or she dies in an accident, and we don't understand that. Uh, and then we don't understand why people that don't do follow Jesus Christ are very prosperous in life, and some that follow Jesus Christ are very poor. We don't understand those things. I remember one time my daughter came to talk to me and she said, "Dad, in the Bible is saying that there is a verse that says that people, I think Jesus Christ are saying that in this generation there are some people that will not die before they see the great revelation or the second coming of Jesus Christ." It does not say specifically the second coming, but say that they would not die before they see that. And this happened 2,000 years ago. So what are they talking about that? She was asking me. Well, um, there are a lot of explanations on that. And one time I asked a theologian to explain that to me, and my mind was more confused after I talked to him. But it looks like Jesus mentioned about maybe the revelation of Jesus Christ, the fact that the Holy Spirit will come upon him, and then he will be brightened, and this will be the glory of Jesus that they will see. And some disciples saw it. That could be an explanation. But the other thing is that maybe you, even if you die, death for a person that is saved is just a moment, because you don't feel anything when you are dying, when you die, and then you will resurrect on the next day. So you die today, and then when you resurrect is like one night or one sleep time that you don't even are conscious of that, and then you will see the second coming right away. That would be something. But if we don't know, we don't need to worry about that, because this is not important for our salvation. And so um, I think our minds cannot understand some of those things. That's why we don't understand very well. And we have to be conscious that things that happen in this world are not always understood. And also the fact that our minds have degenerated. So I believe we have areas in the brain that used to work very perfectly, but they are not working as good as it worked when we were created by God. So I have this funny story. I like to show and to put jokes here. But there is this talk about the boy and the atheist teacher. The teacher came to the boy and said, "How can you tell me that a whale swallowed Jonah, as most whales do not swallow big things? They only eat those small shrimps that they call krill." And the boy answered, "Well, I guess I will have to ask Jonah one day in heaven." And then the teacher was joking and said, "Hey, how about if Jonah does not make it to heaven, because the book of Jonah is he finished in a bad situation for him. Then the boy said, "Well, if he does not make it to heaven, maybe you ask him." I believe you understood that. Huh? Then we go to the issue of fasting. There is two types of fasting, spiritual fastings. I mean, those are physical fasting with spiritual purposes that were conducted on that time. One is this one that God displeases. Is it a fast that I have chosen, a day for a man to afflict his soul? Is it to bow down his head like a bulrush and to spread out sackcloth and ashes? Would you call this a fast and an acceptable day to the Lord? So God was asking, well, is it something that you have to do and make a lot of sacrifice to please me? Is this what I'm requesting from you? In the Bible, the Day of Atonement was the only fasting day that God had ordered for the Jews. That is why it was called the fast, according to Acts 27:9. People, the Jews added other fasts and daily and weekly fasting, but those are not required by God, and He didn't sanction them. Probably they were going after the same thing that the other religions were doing around them, meaning that they were doing all sacrifices to appease God, to get God to their case, to serve the Lord, showing that they are good. If I can fast for a bunch of days, God will be pleased with me. The Israelites expected God to approve their fasting. However, God responded in an unexpected way. You will not fast as you did this day, to make your voice heard on high. So what kind of fasting God was talking about? They were trying to soften God's heart with their religiousness in order to buy forgiveness. God was not requesting that at all. As an illustration part here, let's make a little detour from the spiritual fasting towards the physical fasting, the benefits of fasting. Usually, the modern science is confirming that fast will help patients with inflammatory diseases, uh, mostly people with arthritis. It looks like if you fast for a few days, you can decrease the pain for arthritis without using medication. It can improve insulin action, and then decrease blood glucose and help for diabetics. It can decrease calories, helping people to lose weight. It can decrease lipids and blood pressure and improve brain function. So it's a real good thing. However, it has risks, and it's not something that you can do and without any risk. And if you want to do fasting for a long time, I would advise that you look for someone or check with your provider if you can do that, because it's not something simple. I advise three types of fasting. One is stay with water, but not more than once a week. You could do that, or you could do fruits and veggies um, just once a week again. Or you can do intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is becoming very popular nowadays, And it simply is you eat. In my case, I propose to eat 2 times a day. Like eat at 7 in the morning, then eat at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you are done, and you don't eat anything in the middle of that. This has provide benefits. Most of the benefits that I mentioned before are provided by these three types of fasting if you go for that. The prolonged fasting is the one that I am a little concerned. People stay for 1 week or 2 weeks fasting. Uh, you can do that, but I would advise have some people that are healthcare provider to be controlling you, to be guiding you, and to be supportive. Otherwise, I would not advise to do that. I have a friend who decided to do the 21 days with lemon juice, and then he was kind of bragging that he was able to spend 21 days without eating anything, just drinking lemon juice. And he was increasing. He started with 1 lemon, and then until he progresses to 20 lemons per day. That was crazy, but anyways. It was interesting that he was followed by one of a naturopathic doctor, and then after a few days, he put the he was able to put the gallbladder stones he put in a bottle, and then I gave to him, and the doctor gave to him that bottle full of gallbladder stones, and he showed me the bottle with the stones and said, "See, Dr. Dos Santos, is a very good treatment for gallbladder stones." And say, okay. Um, I hope you are doing okay. What happened is that after 1 month of this treatment, he went to a pizza party and ate a little more pizza than he should. And you know, pizza is very high in cheese, that is very high in fat. So when you have a meal with a high in fat, it will trigger your gallbladder to contract. And if you have stones there, these stones are gonna go to circulation, and you can block the duct that conducts bile from the liver to the intestines. And if you block that, you have an accumulation of bile in your body, and you became all yellowish, and you can have an inflammation. You can even die if you have something like that. This guy didn't die. He ended up in the surgery, in the emergency room, and then he ended up doing surgery, and then he expelled. I mean, they have to take his gallbladder in a urgent surgery, and then he had more than 100 gallbladder stones on his gallbladder. I was thinking, he should fast for 1 year. Then he was able to eliminate all of those rocks in his gallbladder. Well, I'm not joking. I'm just reporting the case, but sometimes people use these treatments that are risky, and thinking that they will solve all the problems of the humanity. Fasting is good. Fasting can help, and I would advise those three ones here that I mentioned. Those three ones, this way. Those three ones here. those three types. I mean, once a week, either with fruits or just water, or the intermittent fasting, mostly with with night fast, meaning that you don't eat your dinner. And that's for me is one of the best applications of fasting for health. Let's go back to the fasting that pleases God. So it's not to share your bread with the hungry, and that you bring to your house the poor who are cast out. When you see the naked, that you cover him, and not hide yourself from your own flesh. So Isaiah was saying that, hey, you don't, if you are sincere to the Lord, it doesn't help you to go fasting and bragging that you are fasting. Forget about that and concentrate in help other people, help the suffering people around. The things that please God are not related to refraining from eating for some time. He is pleased when we share what we have and care for others. That's a lifestyle and not a one-time act. And that's something that benefits God and the other people, and no, not just you. Well, I am doing that for you, God, but you don't do anything that God really, really, really is requiring or is pleased with. Our fasting pleases God only if we are already showing His love to others in our daily life. Then He guides us, satisfies us our soul, and He strengthens us. And then again, pure and undefiled religion before God and the Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in their trouble and to keep oneself unspotted from the world. This is not a fasting, but it looks like this is the sacrifices that the Lord wants us to be involved with. So if we are really intimate with the Lord, we will be influenced, motivated, inspired to do these actions to help the less fortunate in the world. So, on the other hand, if you want to be good to others, do you think that is going to bring salvation to you? Not really. The prophet here was saying that our actions, whatever they are, cannot save us. Jesus summarized all the concepts of salvation in 2 points. So if you go to Matthew 22:37 to 39, the two commandments, major commandments that the other 10 are kind of related to is love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it: love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor means love the ones that are around you, love the suffering ones, love the sick, even go to the point to love the ones that are persecuting you. So now we have a very good picture of what is that really brings salvation. First, you become intimate with the Lord. And then when you are a good friend of the Lord, you will follow Jesus Christ. And when you follow Jesus Christ, there is no way to follow Jesus Christ and not going after what He did. Meaning that He was helping the poor and the suffering in this world. When you are with God, you will love your neighbor. And then what will happen? Then you will call and the Lord will answer. You will cry for help and He will say, "Here am I." And more, the Lord will guide you always. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land and will strengthen your frame. You will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fall. This is in Isaiah 58:11. So the Lord is saying here that if you go with Him, it's not like you just follow and do good to other people, and then as you do other people, you are considered good. No, you just go to the Lord. If you are sincere with the Lord, your passion for humanity will be developed. And then, once you are sincere with the Lord, when you help other people, you become a special person. There are some mind benefits, physical benefits for that, but the main one is the spiritual benefits. So your mind is gonna go um, towards helping other people and find out who is in need around you. So when you are with the Lord again, and you are following the Lord, Isaiah mentioned at the end of the chapter 58 about the Sabbath. If you turn away your foot from the Sabbath, from doing your pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy day of the Lord honorable, and shall honor him, not doing your own ways, nor finding your own pleasures, nor speaking your own words, then you shall delight yourself in the Lord, and I will cause you to ride on the high hills of the earth, and feed you with the heritage of Jacob your father. The mouth of the Lord has spoken. So it's a very clear verse. I would say people should be challenged on that, those that don't believe in the Sabbath. So I have a couple of friends that say, well, we don't need to keep the Sabbath. I mean, it's for the Jews. It's an Old Testament thing. Yeah, the interesting thing is that Jesus Christ never abolished it. Yeah, if you check the first apostolic church, they were keeping the Sabbaths. When Jesus was here, he was going to the synagogue on the Sabbath. If he is supposed to have abolished, as some people claim, that Jesus was he came not to fulfill, but to change, and he came and he said, "No, I came to fulfill and not to change." And then nobody will change one till or one sign of the law uh, that I will approve that. No way. You have to keep it is as it is. So I just want to share what happened once you follow the Sabbath. So I will share a short experience that happened to my life just to illustrate this thought. Then you will find your joy in the Lord if you keep his Sabbaths. And I will cause you to ride in triumph on the heights of the land, and to feast on the inheritance of your father Jacob, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. When I was in medical school, I have a class that was on Sabbath, and then I talked to the professor, and then he said, well, I mean, you try your best. And then there was an exam that was on Sabbath too, and I have a hard time with that because I have to do in another day. But he allowed me to do that another day. And then when we sent the final paper, so I was always missing the class, and when we have exams, I will miss, and then the final paper, I wrote the final paper, and then I was doing good on that course, and so even if I missed the 1 day per week, I was able to recover, and I was able to follow all the instructions there. And you know what happened? At the end of the quarter, when he was reading the papers, he got my paper, and then he read my paper, and then he said, this is an excellent paper here by Hildemar. This could be written, published in a magazine, in a medical journal. So good, so. And then I was thinking, my goodness, I even didn't spend much time. The thing is that he was impressed with me because of the Sabbath, that now he was favoring myself. Don't take me wrong. I don't like to have benefits like that. But this happened. I would say, as the verse says, that you will ride in triumph. So my colleagues they were all look at each other. Who is this guy that missed one class on the Sabbath, and now the teacher is kind of pleasing him in front of us. So that's kind of weird. By the way, I have a lot of Jews in my class, and they didn't skip the Sabbath. They went to class, they went to the exams, they went to everything on Sabbath, and that was messed up. Um, well, not because I'm judging them. Messed up is that because if I have a group of people together, it would be easier to have freedom for us to not go to class on Sabbath, or maybe they will develop another day in the week. But for the fact that I was alone, I have to face the situation alone. But God blessed, and God put me on the spot just because of that. God deeds are twice a blessing, benefiting both the giver and the receiver of the kindness. The consciousness of right doing is one of the best medicines for diseased bodies and minds. When the mind is free and happy from a sense of duty well done and the satisfaction of giving happiness to others, the cheering, uplifting